I once had a few dates with a woman who I realized very quickly was not destined to be my wife. But on our first date, after she ordered a bottle of champagne and frickin' lobster tails, I was a junior accountant at the time, making $9,300 a year, so this meal was literally costing me almost a week's salary. But she was kind of hot, even by my remedial standards, so I took the lobster in stride, hoping my generosity would lead to some from her, which against all odds it did that same evening. But not before she ordered us 2 flaming shots of Sambuca to cap off the meal. Now, I had never done a flaming shot of Sambuca, or a flaming shot of anything, so I didn't know you're supposed to hold the glass away from your lip when you drink it because of how hot the rim got. Fire? Hot? Holy fuck, it was like I got shot in the mouth. I freaked out, completely forgetting that I was still holding the ignited fuel, which in my dance of pain I ended up spilling all over my shirt, at which point my date starts screaming, "Your shirt's on fire, you're on fire!" And I looked down, and sure enough, my chest was engulfed in a blue flame that was spreading to my balls. So I start smacking myself to try to put it out, but it's spreading faster than I can extinguish it. And my date's screaming, "Oh my God!" And I'm thinking, is this it? Am I getting burned alive right here, right now? That possibility actually existed for me at that moment. Thank God somebody at the next table, who was alerted to my dilemma when he heard my date scream that I was on fire, had the presence of mind to douse a napkin with water and come over and put me out. My guardian angel. I could have kissed the guy, except the blister that was already starting to form on my lower lip prohibited me from kissing anybody for the next couple of weeks. Lessons learned the hard way. Like the time I ended up in the lobby of a motel in New Orleans, the hooker I had met earlier that afternoon told me to meet her at during a vacation I had taken many years ago. At least I learned that you don't pay a hooker you met in a bar on Bourbon Street on a Wednesday afternoon in full in advance and expect her to be where she said she was going to be later that same evening. That little bit of desperation only cost me $100 and a few lonely neurotic hours in the lobby of a Fleabag motel 20 minutes outside the French Quarter. But I guess fantasy has to be tempered by humility, or we'd never appreciate them when and if we finally fulfill them. And I got a cool part of a song out of it, so it wasn't a total loss. This is the song. It's called Spin Never Stops.
Before he died, now he's like Neil Cassidy with second sight, but still can't see his freedom's just a word he heard somewhere east of Eden. Sold his soul in 20 years, a heavy load and all the tears, a lost soul shed with everything and nothing in between. Fell asleep at the wheel, a landscape that seems so surreal, can't distinguish what you feel from everything you've seen. A valley of trouble you never meant to wander into, break it so you look right past what's right in front of you. It always could be worse, cause the center of the universe is everything there is from a relative point of view. So what am I trying to say? Always seem to talk about the way. Listen to the rhythm, cause the rhythm sets me free. Once fell in love so deeply that I lost myself completely, but when the world came back to me, that's how it's supposed to be. Listen to the wisdom in the center of the radiance, lighting all horizons, growing stronger in the light. What is love beyond tomorrow? Ties that kind of time we borrow, traveling down the only road we know, which is every road, and every time and every point of view, and everyone we've ever spoken to. What if it's true? What does it mean? What I went through down in New Orleans, tripping on sunshine, how the fire burned. It took more than money, I finally learned. Then I forgot, I tried to be cool, took another shot, got played like a fool. My history, my fantasy, all there is and will ever be. The spin never stops, spectral visions we perceive, up through the bottom like St. Thomas believed. slowly. In the center of the circle stands the tree. That's where the many become one. That's where the moon receives its light from the sun. All of us composed of the two lights. The children of the stars who were born with second sight. But how quickly that light begins to fade. The hard truth about how the world was made. It's hard enough to realize your destiny.